Hey, welcome. So glad to have you here, and welcome to Vegas.
Thank you. It's amazing to be here.
Yeah, how's Vegas for you?
For me, I mean, like it's crazy and fantastic and a bit overwhelming as a Swede as well. We're quite timid, laid back, and then you come to Vegas, everything is like glittery, glamour, and
You put on all your good clothes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. I met Elvis yesterday, so I mean, what more can you ask for?
He's alive. He's alive.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are learning about you.
Yeah.
Because you're one of the, I'll call you a pioneer.
Oh, that's nice of you, but yeah.
In actually starting, kind of going from in the HR space.
Yeah.
So deep in the world of HR,
Yep.
HR practitioner, you flexed the muscle.
Yep.
And he said, I'm going to learn about AI. I'm going to experiment with AI to the point where, now people would call you one of the top 5, leaders.
Well, that's super nice, and but it's just out of pure interest. That's the
And curiosity, right?
Yeah.
And curiosity. So maybe if you could just talk about yourself and your background and how you got into HR.
Oh, yeah.
And then what sparked this AI interest.
So I mean, the long story short here is that so I studied HR, started 17 years ago or something like that, studying HR, and then always been super curious about everything digital. Like all things digital has always been like running through a red thread through my entire life. So coming from a super rural part of Sweden, a small village with only like 3,000 people living in it. So obviously when the internet came, that was like a huge eye opener for me. It's like, okay, could
now
talk
you
to
were
people.
Connected to the world.
Exactly. I could talk to people outside this very, very small village. I could take part of what was happening on a global scale. So it's always been sort of running through, but through my entire life. But so when I started studying HR, like I had that back in mind, like, okay, how can we do this digitally? Like, what's the digital space in HR? And in Sweden at the time, like nothing happened. Like it was just a thunder of nothing, basically, when it comes to digital stuff as well. So then I started to, or me and a friend called Frederick, we started to look up what's happening in the US, like what's cooking in the US. I found you back in, I think, 2009, 2010 or something like that, and other people as well in the space. And we started to see, okay, what are they doing? And then we tried to bring that over to Sweden, basically. So we started a digital community.
Yep.
We started all things digital back then as well. And then eventually that led me, being so integrated in the digital space, through hoops and hopes, it led me to work at Spotify. So where I did 6 years as an HR VP, HR director in the end, helping the back-end infrastructure teams at Spotify. So everything you don't see in the app.
Which is probably like one of the leading, I'll call it digital-first companies.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, if you look at the leadership, even in HR.
Yep.
If you take the leader in HR, if you take some of the I know Michael Kim quite well in Asia. Like it was... That digital mindset was spread throughout all of Spotify.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's the best school I've ever attended. Like having Katarina, but also Daniel, super embedded into HR practices and also pushing the envelope all the time. Like this can be done digitally, hence it should be done digitally. So super grateful for that school as well. And then, but then I eventually found myself like I've only known Spotify. Like this is the ways I know the way which Spotify operates. I need to know something else as well. So I left the world of Spotify and then moved over to be a consultant and did a couple of years as a consultant, moving around in the startup scale-up space in Stockholm. And at the time, I also started then to write in English, mainly for myself, because I wanted to be better at doing stuff in English, basically. I needed that for work. Hence, I needed to be better at articulating myself in English and writing for English. At first, and this is almost embarrassing to say, but like I started out in the sort of metaverse crypto space, like how will that affect the HR
That's
space?
not embarrassing.
No, it's like, but now it's like when I go back and read the stuff that I wrote back then, it's like, oh, well, but why did I believe this? But you learn along the way, right?
Well, I think one of the magic things about that is that we're all just looking at signals.
Yeah.
Right? And we're trying to see around corners and we're trying to see, hey, is blockchain, not that long ago we were talking about how blockchain would replace the social security number, the social insurance number, and maybe still.
Who knows? Like,
but
we're not done yet. So.
But I think that goes back to the curiosity part. So,
exactly.
So if you think about and I always ask this question, did your parents raise you to be in HR? Was there something that brought that curiosity gene to you or the interest in digital? Like if you had to tie it to something, I'll never forget when my dad took me to his office and I saw the first computer, which it was locked. everything was locked behind a door, and he's like, I finally got the key, and I was like, okay, this computer thing, this might be cool, someday. But was there like a spark in your?
Several, and I mean, so the digital part comes from my dad as well. Like, so I have a similar experience where he bought the 286, like a very early computer, and he had his own. So he's in finance,
Okay.
But he had his own finance sort of side hustle on the side while working and then helping out people with their books and all of that on the side. So he bought the computer for that business,
Right.
which was super early. So we got the computer back in, I think 1988 was the year when he bought out as well. And I'm born in 84, so I've always been sort of grown up with computers.
Yep.
And that was quite unusual at the time.
Yes.
Then obviously that changed, but so that was the sort of digital part. But then also my mom, she's what do you call it? Basically a nurse, and so she has the human side.
Yeah.
So like looking back, I can see that sort of coming together.
Well, that's kind of funny because you've heard my story.
Yeah.
Like my dad was a business person, my mom was a teacher.
Yeah.
And I kind of was the tech curious.
Yeah.
So I've tried to combine all of that into what I do.
Yeah.
On an ongoing basis. So
it's
similar stories.
Similar story, and I think also the curiosity it's once again like based in growing up in this quite small community. Obviously, like that sets a physical limitation to what you can attend. So obviously, internet was an eye opener for me and also for the whole village, more or less. Like, oh, look at all the things you can do, the things that you can read, the things you can participate in, and so yeah, it's.
So then you went back into practice, right, for HR, and then what got the AI bug?
No, but it's
or is it part of the same journey?
No, it's the same journey. So I mean, I've been writing about all things digital for then when AI arrives, when ChatGPT arrives. I should be more specific.
Yes.
It's been around for quite a while, but when ChatGPT arrives, I've been writing about metaverse, AR, VR, and whatnot for quite a while. And then obviously it's easy then to start writing about AI and also thinking about, okay, how will this apply to HR? And that's always my first go-to, like, how will this apply to HR? What will we do about this? Or how will we go about whatever new technology is launched?
Yeah.
So I remember exactly where I were, like when I tried ChatGPT the first time. That's one of those moments for me.
Isn't that crazy? I almost said it yesterday. I almost said it yesterday on stage to someone, but I remember the first time I showed my kids, ChatGPT, and my younger son, like, I'm never gonna have to write a paper again. No. And like, I'll never forget that moment. I know it physically exactly where I was.
Yeah, and I can also remember sort of the experience of experiencing ChatGPT at first time. Like, I truly felt like this is magic. Like, this is like there's someone else sitting behind.
Well, I always call it that oh shit moment where I'm like, okay, this is going to change something.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how yet.
No, exactly, but you feel it, right?
Yeah.
And and then eventually I started playing with it, like, and I was a consultant at the time, and one of the first thing that happened was that we were doing a layoff in Germany. I haven't worked that much with German companies before, but then I thought that this would be a fantastic moment to try ChatGPT, and this was December then 2022.
Okay.
So the first question, like the real HR question that I asked was like, how do you fire someone in Germany? And then I didn't follow that through fully, obviously, because we needed to have, and we already had a counselor in Germany that helped us. But I could then take that response from ChatGPT, go to the lawyer in Germany, and said like, this is the questions that I had, and this is how I think about it. Is this the right way to go about it?
Right.
And she's like, how many times have you done this before? It's like, I never done this before, but you know so much. And that was also like an epiphany moment for me, saying like, okay, if I can take this, I can work with a chatbot for 15 minutes, and then the company actually saved an hour of her time, which is super expensive in Germany for paying for a lawyer.
Right.
It's always painful to pay for a lawyer, but that was like an epiphany moment where like, okay, this could actually be viable. There's a benefit to HR for real, not only like, okay, it might be this, it might be that. Like, that was a tangible thing that happened, and then was like, this is going to change stuff.
So one of the things I love about your work is the experimentation. That sometimes if you work for, and I kind of like, I wear my Mercer uniform during the day, and then I do my experimentations at night. Yeah. But I think that's so important is the experimentation. And one of the things I value so much about the work you do is that you're not. I mean, you're on the hype cycle, but at the same time, you're on the real cycle as well.
But I think that's an important role for everyone right now in HR or in finance or wherever you're at. But if we talk about HR specifically, like you need to make sure that you understand what's what. Like I think that's the most important thing that we need to do. And I heard you mention that as well yesterday when listening to you downstairs. But like it's important that you actually try stuff and that you do stuff and you vet stuff as well, because how would you know? Like no one really knows. Like we get updates all the time. So the thing that didn't work yesterday might work today just because someone hit the button during night. Like it's super important that you try, and you need to try constantly. And that obviously takes effort, and then you can do it on the side. I sit up way too late trying stuff as well. But then you need to embed that somehow into your workflow. I think it's super important.
How do you get that mindset? You know, I mean, how do you? It's the curiosity. Because there's a lot of people that be like, they're waiting for IT, to deliver it to me on a silver platter, with some training, And I don't know which session you were in of mine yesterday, but I said if you're waiting for IT, you're probably going to fail.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. But and if I imagine if the whole world was waiting for IT, nothing would get done.
Right. We as HR practitioners have to take responsibility at some point for some of this.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for IT forever, and they've been great partners.
They are fantastic partners still, but it's also it's super important that we, as you rightfully point out as well, is that we don't wait around saying okay, show us what we can do. We need to drive, we need to own, and we need to try and fail. And I think that is hard for a lot of people, and also myself included sometimes, because if you fail, you show that I'm not capable.
Of vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be vulnerable in that sense that, hey, I don't know, I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to try. And I mean, for organizations to build up that resilience, that psychological safety, I think that's the most important thing that you can do as an organization, to infuse that in the organization.
Yeah.
So you have that safe space where you can say to your manager, I tried, I failed. And I mean, that's not technical.
Right.
But we don't need IT for that. But we should be able to create that. We from HR, I see that it's the most important thing that we can do as a function as well, to instill that sort of mindset in people, which is super hard and super tricky, but it's doable. It's about failing and trying and failing again and trying again, and then eventually you find something that works.
So talk about your journey now and what you're doing.
Yeah,
because now you're in the trenches.
In the trenches
with HR organizations, saying hey guys, let's try this.
Yeah,
and I'm sure. When I go to Europe, nothing against Europe, but Europe is a little more guarded sometimes.
A little more. That's very conservative and nice of you to say it's horrible.
And then the U.S. So I'll be like, well, we should try this. And they're like, well, maybe in 2030 or 2032.
Maybe at earliest at 2030. If the EU has approved of all the steps before that, we'll see.
I'll never forget, I was at a dinner in Paris at Unleash, a great event. And, someone said, we're waiting for the EU Act. And I was like, waiting for the EU Act? For what? And they're like, well, to tell us what to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think you should wait for the government to tell you what to do.
And a lot of people are they're holding up a crucifix against devils as well. The EU AI Act. If people come and say you need to try AI. There will be, behold, I have the EU AI Act that
so for those of us that don't live in Europe, how would you describe the environment now? Are we past that point where there's skepticism?
No. We're definitely not past that point. All the studies that is coming out is still showing that we're behind in Europe compared to Asia, compared to North America in general as well. So we are to some extent suffering from that still, and I think it has to do a lot with regulations, of course. But I mean, if you actually read the legislation, and if you talk about the legislation, if you look into the legislation, it's not hindering anything really. You need to be mindful and you need to have the right things in place. But as long as you have that, it's fine. Then there are things that you can't do. But that's
but it's
also
responsible.
Exactly.
It's all use of technology requires responsible
common sense. So I would say that the actual difference between US and Europe is way less than people think. People still, it's an easy way out for a lot of people saying oh, but this whole EU AI Act, we need to wait, or we need to see what's happening here. it's already implemented. Like we know roughly.
Do you think, so we've talked a lot about, and I, in my writings, I try to talk a lot about education and kids learning. Do you see that AI is being brought into schools now?
Not at all. Not at all.
So that's
in Norway. Norway did a fantastic thing. So Oslo, the capital of Norway, they bought ChatGPT licenses for all students. 250,000 licenses.
Wow.
And that's fantastic. In Sweden, nothing.
Nothing.
So it's a bit different, like in different parts of Europe. But in general, I would say that we're more on the regulatory side, saying like, okay, so we ban cell phones, we ban computers, and we don't allow them in the classroom. And which is, from my perspective, so backwards, because obviously when people are then coming out at workplaces, we expect them at least to use computers and phones while working. So why should you ban them? You should learn people how to use them and like what's good to use of a phone.
So does that concern you? Because
a lot. So,
it would keep me up at night because I'd be like, okay, these are the future workers.
I know. It's so backwards. It's so backwards. So, I mean, technology, as you rightly point out as well, like it can work in your favor, it can work to your disadvantage as well. Like but you should be in control of when what's what, basically.
Yeah.
And we don't do that. So we say like we ban and we regulate, and then obviously the reality is completely.
Do you see that changing?
Yeah, but to the worse.
Really?
Yep. To the worse. So there's a lot of discussions now, and I shouldn't take poison on this, but I think they've actually banned cell phones or talking about banning cell phones across schools all over Sweden.
Well, and I don't know if that's bad.
No, I don't know if that's bad either. But like, the discussion is solely around it's bad, and it's like, what's what here? Like, how do we do it? And I can see the logic behind it, but it's also like, once again, if we ban it. What kind of mentality do we instill in people?
And what does that do to our global standing long term?
But what do you see here? Like, because you also have regulations in regards to the different states, like California is doing something, New York has this local law 144. Like, do you see people thinking about regulations in the US? I'm just curious to hear your perspective on that one.
I mean, I see it, but I also see them just charging through.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, we kind of live in a, fool around and find out world today where it's not, I mean, excuse me, I shouldn't say that. We in the United States kind of live in a fool around and find out world. And hey, we'll ask for forgiveness, not permission. When I think Europe is a little different when it comes to that way.
No, but I think that's the right mentality to have right now. Once again, like if things are set, defined, well, it's easier than to say like, oh, this is what we're going to do, not going to do. But once again, AI is developing so rapidly. So if you don't like try and you find out, and then you sort of module or around finding out, or like experimenting, I think you'll end up in the backwaters.
So there's a phrase I like, called like voice of the voiceless.
Yeah.
And if you think about HR business partners, they kind of like they feel like the voiceless to me. And I feel that you've kind of identified yourself as the voice of the voiceless in a way, where you've kind of taken the flag and said, hey guys, follow me.
Yeah, do this.
So in that role, let's anoint you the voice of the voiceless for a second.
Finally.
Like, what are you doing to, like, for people that listen to this or watch this, where do they start?
No, but go to yourself. I think that's that's where I like people to start. Like, okay, what problems am I facing? What don't I like with my role? Like, is there parts of the HRBP role that I don't find interesting, that don't give me energy? Like, it's just repetitive, boring stuff as well. And then just try to solve it with AI. Like, you have a fantastic tutor, mentor, guide, coach at your fingertips for free as well. Like, you can literally go into ChatGPT. You don't even have to sign up to ask the question. And then let's just say, like, I have this task. It's super boring. What I do about it?
But is your mind so? I'm just going to share a personal story. Yeah. So my mind is completely rewired to the point where I have to have AI with me.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I feel like I can't do my job. No. There are others who have no idea what I'm talking about when I say something like that. And there's times I wonder if I'm too dependent on it.
The same here.
Yeah.
Same here. But what do you think? Do you feel that you're too dependent on it, or like do you feel like, okay, if I were taken away, the tools were taken away tomorrow, like I would survive, or I would find my ways?
Well, it would be a big step back.
Yeah.
It would be a huge step backwards. B, I tell people I'm smart. I feel smarter. I don't know if I am smarter. And there's going to be a bunch of people that would argue that you're not smarter.
No.
But I definitely feel like I have access to information, wisdom, or excuse me, knowledge that then I could apply to wisdom going forward that I just, and this is not like woe is me, but I don't have time to keep up. I don't have time to keep up otherwise. So for me, I am dependent, yes. Do I regret it? I don't know.
No.
What I struggle, and I'd love your thoughts on this, when people say, our brains are turning to mush or things like that, because my brain is more engaged than in the past.
I 100% agree. Like I totally agree with that as well. Like I use it all the time. Obviously, like it's starting to rain.
No, that's a train. We wanted to make you feel at home. You have much better train systems in Europe than we do here in the U.S.
No, but it's I use it all the time. I also think it makes me better. Like I feel like I'm better with AI than without. The thing that I love the most is also that it can give me perspective. So I have this. So this is my perspective, and this is what I'm thinking about this topic, issue, whatever it might be. Can you give me other perspectives? Like, what am I missing? What's my blind spots? Like, to have that instantly, just all the time, to infuse that into my own thinking, it's insanely beneficial.
Right.
To always be, you can question yourself basically on your beliefs, on your hypothesis, and like, what am I missing? How could I improve this? How can I be better? Like, I have such a hard time understanding why aren't people using it more.
So where do you want to take your journey here?
So I mean, I wish I had like a big master plan in life. Like,
I think that's hard for anyone to have a master plan in life right now.
But sometimes it feels like people are like super set on this is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to do. But I'm a fun-driven guy. That's I like to have fun, and right now this is super fun. It's
that is so. I love how you said that. I'm a fun-driven guy.
Yeah, but it's like I'm 100% certain that people do things for different reasons.
Yeah.
But my driver is fun. Like I like to have fun. I like to talk to people who I think is fun. To be in fun contexts, and this is fun right now. So my aim is to have the most fun that I can have, and enjoy the ride for as long as I can.
Is this a conversation that happens in the family?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and you met my wife, Christine. Like,
yes.
So it's absolutely that as well. Like, okay, how do we make sure that we have fun as well? I mean, from time to time, that leads you down a path which you didn't expect. Will this do that? I don't know. Like, I'm not sure for how long I will do this, but right now, it's insanely fun, and also to be helping different companies. And I'm fortunate enough now to work with clients in different continents, in different parts of the world as well, to get those different perspectives and to see how people are attacking this as well, and to be part of that as well, and to help solve it, both from like a big strategy point, but also like super down into the weeds. Like I build stuff for people. Like, this is what I want to do, and it's super fun, super steep learning curve.
What do you think happens to? So, I have, as I said before. Well, I didn't say it exactly like this, but I have really high regard for the Katarinas of the world.
Yeah.
Formerly, Spotify, Michael, Spotify. What do you think happens to HR? Like, I don't know how much thought you've given this, because like we spend a lot of time talking about the tools.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to think about what happens to the function.
Yeah.
And you've been lucky enough to work with some really great leaders. Who've talked about it.
Absolutely. So, and I think a lot about this as well, and I ponder a lot about it as well. And I got the question. Like, I did a speech for a hospital a while back, and one of them, or HR people at the hospital, and they asked me like, okay, so in 10 years, where will HR be? And I was like, oh, that's a super hard question, because I can see it go different ways.
Yep.
I can see us thrive and survive, and really like be an integral part of this as well. And I think that is up to us. Like, if we decide to be part of this, we can. But that requires a conscious effort.
Yep.
I truly believe that we then need to acknowledge that AI is here to stay, and we need to understand that technology. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
I don't see that happening to the extent that I want it.
To the pace that you think it should.
No.
Okay.
People are leaning back too much. And we also have the assumption that work will stay the same. When I meet people, and I think that is also walking around the conference and listening to people, we just assume that the workforce that we have right now, that will stay the same. And then we HR need to figure out how we with AI module towards the current workforce.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you were in one of the sessions I did yesterday, but one of the CHROs I interviewed said, I feel we're taking an incremental path instead of an exponential path.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting stuck with inertia.
Yep.
And it sounds like you're on the same page.
I'm 100% on the same page. And I think we need to rethink it fully. And we also need to acknowledge that work itself will change for people.
Yep.
Hence, we need to be mindful about, okay, how do we position this? How do we position ourselves in this whole transformation, in this whole work will most likely not be the same. And also I mean, just look at the pace. It's obvious that something will change along the lines. And then I don't think there will be like a magic moment where all of a sudden AI will do everything, but it will be incremental steps in this as well for this to happen. But it's already happening to some extent. Like we see AI taking parts of jobs or fully taking jobs as well. And obviously we need to be then thinking about and what will that mean and how will work look like? What is even work? Like we derive a lot of meaning from work. Yep. Is that the thing we should aim for going forward, or should we do something else? I don't know. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think I completely agree with you, and I think that the function of HR is going to be a function of how do we think about humans and machines working together.
Yep.
Much more than how do I count my people.
Yep.
Sorry, I think it's going to be.
I think you're spot on.
Well, no, I think it's going to be much more about not policy on should people return to office. Or how much vacation do they have? But the policy should be about how do I use humans and machines together going forward. Yeah. One more. I want to ask you one more. I have two more questions actually, but I'm gonna try to do it quick because I know we're almost out of time. Oh, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say that on your point on counting people. Now, when meeting organizations, obviously I've grown up with Katarina, and Katarina is super business focused.
Yes.
We need to make sure what makes the business ticks. How do we make the business move forward? So for me, that's just that's how HR thinks.
Right.
But when you meet people in general, not pointing out any one specifically, but a lot of people, they don't know what moves the business forward.
Right.
They have no clue. When you ask them, what's your KPIs? Oh, it's employee engagement. Okay, how does that move the business forward or backward? Do you know? I have no clue.
And if that's the case, a bold statement, they don't deserve to be in HR.
I agree. That you need to rethink that whole role then.
Yeah.
So sorry, that was just...
No, it's really important. So two things. So you spend a lot of time with vendors as part of your experimentation and curiosity.
Yep.
I struggle thinking that big vendors who have lots of architecture, lots of built-in stasis, are going to be able to change, in an AI-first way. Where I think they're putting AI on top of what they already have instead of rethinking.
Yep.
And there's a lot of startups who are rethinking and are starting to speedboat past them. So I'd love your just quick thoughts on that.
I fully agree, and I think that there will be so many incumbents coming up in the next coming
and that doesn't mean there's not a space for the big people.
No, of course, and I think they will have their place. And I mean, a startup is rarely positioned to take on super large client at first. So I think that will happen gradually as well. But I think there must be incumbents.
Well, if you think about you think about some of our Martin Smith.
Yeah.
For example, Martin's written Martin writes his own apps that are as good as anything we're going to write. Or as a $800 million business any day.
Yeah.
And that power in the hands of an individual?
Exactly. And I mean, we have that power already now. I built my own ATS. I built my own employee engagement system. You can do that.
Right.
It's easy.
And people say never. No way.
No, but it takes what it takes is time.
Yes.
That's because you need to figure the hardest part, in all honesty, with the employee engagement system was to find out what questions should I ask and what's more valid question to ask.
Yeah.
The actual building, it took 10 minutes and I could take a coffee during the time. So I mean, we're entering an era where you could build almost anything if you have if you put your mind to it.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
So I mean,
And then the last thing is what happens to the humans? Because that's the I don't know if I hate to say it. That's not the funny part, but it's the part where everyone's like, oh, we're getting way too technical. We're getting rid of the humans. Like I wrote something the other week about like, hey, humans are still needed in the first 10% of work and the last 10% of work. It's the boring part of work that they're not needed in. But I don't know. I'd love your thoughts.
The easy question in the end as well. On what happens to humans? Like you could talk endlessly, but I think it's a very.
Don't you like how I throw out the hardest question? The hardest question. Hey, we got 5 seconds. What happens to the humans?
So be short. No, but it's, no, but I think it is the most fundamental question as well. And I think we as an organization or organizations, they need to have an answer to that. And I think this is where they're lacking. They're throwing AI from the IT side on people, saying like, hey, use AI. And then people see headlines, AI will replace it, AI will take your work. And then we expect people to just be super happy. Hey, jump on the AI train, it's fantastic. So obviously we need to help people then. And as you point out, I think humans has a role to play. But we need to define that. Yep. What is your role? What will happen to you? And we need to explain that to people so people understand, can internalize, and also can then adopt to the reality which we deem to be like the reality that we want to operate in. But we need to take that responsibility, and we don't do that. So we just assume that people will like, oh, AI, yeah, it's great, fantastic, let's do it. But like we need to help people. But I think humans has a super important role to play. And I think that we will still have a role to play, even if we get AGI, if we do supercomputers, whatever might be down the line. I think we have a role to play in vetting and also just for the sheer joy of working as well. But we need to then rethink, okay, what will that mean? What skills do people need in order to be successful? Is it the old ones or is it new ones?
Yeah.
And I see, a lot of C leaders today, they lead their organizations based on old assumptions because they haven't tried the tools themselves. Right. They don't know the capability of ChatGPT to its full extent. So marketing directors, they lead their marketing departments on the basis of this is how marketing used to be run 2010 when I was doing the operational stuff.
I almost feel like people are taking a victim mentality instead of a victor mentality. Like, I've never used that phrase before, but I feel like people are victim. Like they're almost acting like, oh, it's here, it's coming for me. Yeah, instead of, hey, I'm a victor and I'm actually going to change things.
It's happening to me.
Yeah,
and that's like my whole sort of passion for this is to change that narrative to it's not happening to you. You make it happen.
Yes.
And you need to create. And the future is not like it's not set in stone. It's not defined. Like we write the future. We decide what the future is. But in order to do so, we need to be educated. We need to be smart, and we need to be thoughtful as well on how we do it.
Yep.
We can't just assume that it will be a bit of that. It will be a bit. Okay, this is how I want it. This is how I shape it.
Yeah.
But then. That requires.
I love that. Yeah,
it requires a lot of effort as well. So
yeah. Well, this is a fascinating conversation. Sorry to end with the big question at the end.
No, I love it.
We have a lot of work to do.
We have a lot of work to do.
So we'll put all your information in the show notes. People reach out to you. LinkedIn best.
LinkedIn is best. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Safe travels back home.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.